Thank you for joining today's ETRO U. We're covering the lean policy here at ETRO. So as many of you who've been here for a while know, that lean is a key reason why ETRO was founded, and approaching construction in a different way includes lean. So to support that, we have now released a lean policy for ETRO, and this session is to get you familiar with that. So today we will cover the basics of lean, and then the first 4 items are specific ways in which lean has been implemented at ETRO. So some of these you might not even realize are done because of lean, but they're very important to be familiar with, and we want all of you guys using all of the tools that we have today. We'll also have a review of some pilot processes that are being tried on projects, and thank you to those project teams who've been happy to experiment with us. And today, just special for this ETRO U alone, we have a contest with some giveaways, including a Procore hat and a couple of Procore hoodies. So pay attention to what we cover today, and hopefully you'll be able to answer some questions and engage in the contest at the end. Allison will also donate approximately 1 million mugs for other people who want to participate. One of our questions is open for many participants, so there are lots of goodies to go around, so that you guys can demonstrate that you're engaged in lean. So basic 101 of lean is the notion of eliminating waste. So there's 8 specific types of waste that have been identified as lean process items, I'll say. So it can be transportation, inventory, keeping too much stuff on site, motion. This would actually be, are you moving too much to get things done? Waiting, standing around waiting so that you know if something is ready for you or not. It's not effective to go to site and be ready to do some work if nobody else is ready for you, essentially. Over processing and overproduction, this can be spending too much effort to get something done, providing too much information. This is something where I personally have to make sure I stop myself and back off and don't over process something, but only give the information that's actually really useful. Defects. We always want to prevent defects. That's a large part of our quality program. And underutilized skills. So what are you guys good at that we're not using? So we've got some initiatives coming from Shannon, actually, that looks at this specifically. But also when it comes to your trades and what they're able to do, we can be creative with their scopes of work. Another really key part of lean is the plan, check, do, act process. So this means that you are actually intentionally coming up with how something will be done. Planning can be, a quick 5-minute chat between a team about how you're going to run a meeting, or it can be something like, what is our process for tendering documents in the correct scopes of work so that we get the best results based on some of our past projects. So when you're looking at something bigger like that, you're doing a root cause analysis. You're analyzing all of the people who have been involved in the past and asking them for their input, then coming up with a better solution and implementing it. That's the plan process. Do is literally doing it. Are you actually making results with this plan? Check is taking that time to look back at what just happened and seeing if it matches the plan, and then act. So either, yes, this worked as we expected, we're now going to implement it for everybody, or we need to make some more changes to make sure that it actually works. And then a key part of lean as well, and we're just touching the surface, is having a clean and organized work environment. When you have this, you are more efficient, it's safer, you have fewer errors. It actually makes it easier for you to meet your deadlines, reduces frustration, and can boost customer confidence. So, we had a couple of weeks ago in the head office, we had the team from Bahamas in the office. So we had a special push to clean up, because when your clients come to your head office and it's not tidy, they don't think your job site's going to be tidy either. So these things really do make a difference in not only your own performance, but how we look to others. So at a very, very high level, these are some of the fundamental parts of lean. So let's move on to ETRO's policy. So the first one, value stream mapping. So this is a lean process that we underwent to come up with the ETRO way. So a value stream map is actually taking all of the steps in a process, laying them out, understanding where the value is in what you're doing, and then reducing the waste. So the first part is understanding the process, because if you don't understand what you're intending to do and how you're doing it, you don't know if you're maybe repeating the same work or the same effort across multiple times in the project. So the idea here is to keep your standard tasks repeatable. So that is what led to the creation of the ETRO way. It started in our head boardroom. We had a lean practitioner come and facilitate the session, and you literally see the sticky notes that the team that was present at that time put up on the wall and laid out what the ETRO process was. In the middle, this is a recording, essentially, just taking those sticky notes and making it into an electronic format so everything's laid out. You could validate, yes, these are the right steps, no, they aren't the right steps. And once they did that, the final result is our beautiful branded ETRO way diagram from step A, which is the initial opportunity phase, all the way to step F, which is closeout. So hopefully everybody knows where to find the ETRO way on the ETROnet. The key to understand is when we look at the diagram, each of those boxes, whether they're white or gray, you select that and it takes you into Tetra. Tetra is an application on the web where we store all of this information. You can also directly go into the link, because when you're clicking on a box, so for instance, D101, you'll find that on the diagram, and you'll find this specific article, D101 assigned a project. So that gives you the steps for that specific part of the process. PMP means process and procedure. So all of the operations, processes, and procedure are under PMP operations. So while we have the lovely diagram, steps A to F, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections that match those specific parts of the diagram. So you have business development. So this would be your initial opportunity. What happens all through that? Your finance and legal part, marketing, operations, pre-construction, and estimating. So all of these parts of the ETRO way are documented in articles, and you can click on each article to find exactly what you're supposed to do in that phase of a project. So the ETRO way is a value stream map, and it exists because we intentionally want the ETRO process to be standardized so that we can streamline everything and keep it as waste-free as possible. So if you're not using it, I highly recommend you do use it. Lean policy element number 2, pull planning. So this is a standard that is mandatory for all of our projects at ETRO. Standard approach to this is to break your project into phases of about 8 to 10 weeks of work. You have these sessions set up with the trades who have work happening within that 8 to 10 weeks. The intention here is to actually create that breakdown until you hit that major milestone collaboratively with all the subcontractors who have to get their work done in that phase. The point of it is to keep the schedule realistic and obtain buy-in from those who will do the work. It's really important actually to have those subcontractors in the same room agreeing to do things in a certain order at a certain time, because that means they know when they're expected on site, they know the crew size to get things done, and they know who they're taking work over from, and they can be accountable to each other for completing the work. So pull planning, there's a lot of work that we need to do into making sure that this is standardized across the company, but it is something that we expect you to do. And so your pull planning informs your weekly look aheads. So basically, the way it's been designed is each of these boards is 1 week. So if you're doing a phase of 8 weeks to a major milestone, you have those 8 weeks all planned out to get to that milestone, but your weekly look ahead is one board at a time. You need to then review that each week in your subcontractor meetings to make sure that there's dedicated to the plan that was already laid out and that your overall master schedule isn't going to shift. So if you'd like to learn more about pull planning, maybe attend a session with a project that's doing it effectively, please reach out to myself, Herb, Dan, the Lean Committee, and we'll make sure that you're given those opportunities to see how it's done, and then be able to implement it on your projects as well. Just-in-time delivery. So the Commerce Court application is meant to support this initiative of just delivering what you need to your site on time. So as everybody knows, Marcelo is currently having a full overhaul of the system, so it'll be very quick and reactive. But the point is that we want to maintain inventory for the things that are commonly used on all projects in the warehouse rather than on your job site. We want to reduce laydown of material, because that if you're using large laydown spaces on some of our really, really tight projects, that means you have to handle that material many, many times to get your work done before it gets installed. So if we're able to maintain this inventory in the warehouse rather than on your job site, it reduces that effort, and it also makes it more effective so that you're not moving something and you're only installing the things that you need to install, and you're not handling all this stuff that doesn't matter for your work right now. It also provides an advantage because we can leverage our purchasing power in bulk. So if you're buying something for just one project, say 837 BD, it might seem like you're buying a whole ton of let's say screws, right? But when we combine screws for BD with all the UVC projects, with Brightside, with Aritzia, when you combine those things, you're now looking at 5 to 10 times the amount of volume. So that scale matters in terms of unit pricing, so we can save money on all projects by doing this. And the intention here is to ensure consistent level of care across job sites. So if you're purchasing things from multiple sources, and that sometimes has to happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of our job sites are getting the same level of care at the right time. Certain organizations may respond one way, somebody else that you order from might respond a different way. We want to make sure that that's streamlined and you guys are getting all the same level of care. So that's why CCEC is set up there. And Google Gallery. So if you haven't used your template gallery from Google yet, I really, really encourage you to. So first of all, it does allow us to store all the templates for our documents and our sheets in one spot. This means that rather than, say, copying something from a previous project and removing all the information to then use it again, when you click on the template, it's immediately creating a brand new file. So you can then edit the information that's only relevant to your project. You don't have that waste of going back and deleting. You only add new information. And another advantage is that when we need to do refinements, so for example, we had an acknowledgement of construction completion document that was used on one project that we're like, this is really great, all projects can use it. We put it in the gallery and we update that template and say we have feedback from one owner that says, hey, I don't agree with this wording here. This is going to impact me in this way, and we think that that's something that will benefit us on all projects. We update it, we push that template to the gallery again. Now everybody has the exact same wording. There's been some requests in the past to perhaps put these templates in the folders where they would be stored on a project, but this means that every time something is updated, we would have to find all of those templates in folders, whether it's in the folder template or any projects that have unused templates, and replace them. That's a very large amount of effort to keep things standardized and clean. So rather than putting them there, we have them stored in the Google Gallery templates. One thing you do have to remember is because it's creating a new file, you have to make sure that you name it and save it to the appropriate folder once it's created. If you have feedback around our folder structure and how we could do better, if this is something that you find painful, please let me know. Generally, I think our folder structure is pretty lean and should be fairly easy to figure out where you're putting something. But if that's not the case, I'm just happy to take that feedback. So on the left where you see, this is our document template gallery. So Google Docs, there's categories. So it says jump to category right here. So we have, pre-construction and estimating as a category. You're seeing right here our construction phase templates. You will notice for construction, there's this down arrow right here. That's because the way Google's designed it, you can only see 2 rows at a time. If there's a template that you know exists but you think is missing, just hit that down arrow. It's going to show you all of the templates. So there's nothing missing. Everything is there. Marcelo has helped me confirm that. We're all good. So please use the Google Gallery templates and avoid copying things from past projects. So those 4 things are the mandatory elements of the ETRO lean policy today. The ETRO way, pull planning, just-in-time delivery, and Google Gallery templates. Now, that's, as I mentioned, a basis, a very bare minimum of what we need to be lean. So we're also engaging in some pilot projects right now with the help of different project teams to see how we can improve our lean policy and how we can make it better so we don't have as much waste. So firstly, no unallocated labor. We're doing this on our UBC project. So if there's any extra labor being used on that project, it's tied to either an existing cost code, so something that was in our general requirements where we put into our contracts, we have labor to do this work. If labor is being done on behalf of a subcontractor, that is now tracked to a specific cost code for that subcontractor. We want to specifically keep track of it, not have it in a generalized labor budget sitting somewhere else and us not knowing specifically why we had, say, 6 laborers on a site at any given time. And this really means that we're not spending time doing things without knowing what the purpose is. And that's part of the plan, do, check, act process. The second pilot project is at 837 BD. They've been really helpful. They're doing on-site daily logistics board planning. So you can see this picture of it on the left, the really cool little setup that Nick Hawley designed with some sheet metal. And we just have prints of the floors that are currently being worked on and color-coded magnets for each of the trades, as well as hazards on the site. So on a daily basis, trades know who's going to be working where, not just in a plan view, but also on top of each other, which can really help in terms of hazards. It helps us plan our deliveries a little bit better, indicates crane usage, and the locations of equipment. So this is a part of their daily huddles. They go walk and stand around the logistics planning board, confirm this crew's going to be here, this crew's going to be there. You understand you're now on top of each other, or you're working side by side. Are there any considerations that you guys have to take to make sure that you can be effectively adjacent? And so far we've had some good feedback. I'm sure Brad and Nick, if they're on, would give us more feedback. And but we thank them very much for taking this on, because it's a pretty neat one that we really were excited to do. And then everything off the floor. So this is the idea of, we're not laying material just on the ground that then requires some other means of getting it up and moving. So it could be making sure it's on pallets, so you can use pallet jacks to move things around, or like our sample trays that are now on wheels. So you can have those things, they're stored on the site, but you can move them around very easily without having to have, say, multiple laborers or special equipment brought in that wouldn't standardized be on there. Everything on the floor is effectively done at other companies. It's something that we're really excited about getting to use, and we expect this to really help facilitate the reduction of effort to move things around on a site. So now that you know what's mandatory to happen at ETRO, as well as what we're experimenting with at ETRO, I've got a little contest. So there's up for grabs is a hat and 2 hoodies. So please use the raised hand feature in Google Meet. I will not necessarily see your physical hand go up. I only see about 9 people on the screen, including myself. So use the raised hand feature if you want to engage in the contest. Okay, ready? Number 1. What is one on-site problem that you encountered and were able to solve efficiently? No, Shane's hand is up. What do you got, Shane?
I think one here for Brightside was the at Brightside we have no access to 3-phase temporary power, so we needed 3-phase temporary power for both of our cranes. So we ended up purchasing a 100 kilowatt generator, which can actually power both of our cranes on the site. So that was something that we put into effect fairly quickly. And now ETRO, for everyone on the call here, we do have a 100 kilowatt generator that we're looking to find a new home for because we don't have cranes anymore. But I feel like that was an efficient way to power our cranes, and the owner paid for the fuel and for the rental of the generator that we own.
Yeah, that's a good one, Shane, because that goes into our EC equipment in the future. So now when we set up our next site, we have this available, can be delivered to you and taken away exactly when needed. So you don't have to come up with a new solution for that. So I have a Procore hoodie or a Procore hat, Shane. Which one would you like?
Oh, I'll take the hoodie, please.
Okay.
I'm willing to offer up the hoodie to somebody if they can take this generator off our site by next week. Thanks, Karina.
Thanks, Shane. Okay, next one. This one would require a little bit of work on your part, and we'll see if you paid attention. So where in the ETRO way can you find what is expected during testing and commissioning? So what I'd like you to do is place the link in the chat, and the first person to give me the correct link gets their choice of a hoodie or hat. I see a lot of people anxiously looking at their screens, searching. Brad's popped up first, Giselle. Sorry about that. So Brad, you can choose between a hoodie and a hat. Okay, so question 3, you won't get the reward right away because this requires submission to me before 3 p.m. today. Okay, the requirement is you email me before 3 p.m. today. Submit a picture of your clean and organized work environment, and then the lean committee will select a grand prize winner. This will be the hat or hoodie. Plus, we'll have some of the mugs from Allison as well. So if anybody else is just going to submit, nobody goes home empty-handed. Submit a picture of your clean and organized work environment to me via email before 3 p.m. and we'll select, the lean committee will select one winner later today. Thank you, everyone. And we'll please send me photos of your clean workspace before 3 p.m. and we'll find owners for the awards and get these hoodies and hats to everybody else. Okay, thank you.